Hey there, in today's video I'm going to do the Brooks Hyperion Max, and I'm going to compare them to the Brooks Hyperion Tempo. First I'm going to show a short video of me running in them, then I'm going to put them on the turntable and list their specifications. I'll review them, and finally I'll see if I can recommend them. I love the Brooks Hyperion Tempo. I've made a couple of videos about it that I'll link at the end, and I've been wondering for quite some time how Brooks were going to try to improve it. And what they seem to have done is put in a little bit more cushion and added a little more price. And in this video, I'm really going to try and see if it adds up to more than the sum of the new parts. As always, there's chapter markers down below, so you can skip on through to the bits you might be interested in. I made a short video of me running in them in Malahide Castle, just to the north of Dublin, 2 doors down from where my grandmother lived, in a slightly smaller house. So let's go for a run and see the shoes in action. I hope you enjoyed my run around Malahide Castle. Let's put the shoes on the turntable and look at their specifications. Brooks say that the shoe weighs 7.80 ounces, 222.1 grams. This shoe is a US 13, EU 47.5, UK 12, CM 31. In this size it weighs in the left shoe 258 grams, 9.10 ounces. In the right shoe 254 grams, 8.96 ounces. It has a 33mm stack height. It has an 8mm drop. Brooks say this about the Hyperion Max. Want to maximize your racing potential? Train in the Hyperion Max. This responsive shoe offers speedy heel-to-toe transitions, while plenty of ultralight cushioning helps absorb impact, so you're ready for another hard session sooner. Let's review the shoe and see if what Brooks says is true. The upper of the Hyperion Max hasn't changed appreciably from the Hyperion Tempo. I'll stick the light in and you'll get to see the vents at the front. It's kind of well ventilated at the front. You can see the light coming through the holes, and at the sides on both the inner and the outer. It's largely from what I would call the ain't broke, don't fix it school of design, and in this particular shoe, I'm all in favour of that. The upper is largely similar to the Tempo. It's got the same high heel, nice bit of padding. The tongue has a little bit more padding. It's still a relatively thin tongue, a little bit more padding, more pass through, so you can pass through the laces at any point if you wanted. Speaking of the laces, beautiful design undone, as I like to think of it. The original ones have a little bit of stretch, and when you pull them through the eyelets, they lace up beautifully. The new ones here are a bit more, they seem a bit wider, and they've got a bit more texture to them. So my guess is that Brooks feel they'll come undone less, or maybe just change for change's sake, but certainly I really prefer the ones on the Tempo. The real changes in the shoe are in the midsole. Essentially, it's thicker. We'll come to the stack height in a minute, but essentially there's more foam in it. The outsole is the same kind of material, which I'm really pleased with. My Brooks Hyperion Tempo was a superb wearing shoe. In terms of the heel, it's cut off a bit more. It's fine with me. You'll see it here. You can kind of see this is more straight. The Hyperion Max, this form is a bit more like the Hyperion Elite. And yeah, so essentially this shoe has more foam in the midsole. For me, the shoe fits true to size. It's pointy, but it's not narrow. I can't take narrow shoes. It's gained a little bit of weight with the added foam. Brooks say that it's 7.8 ounces or 221.2 grams for the Max versus 7.3 ounces or 207 grams for the Tempo. Not a big difference, but actually in my size, which is a UK size 12, I found very little difference, and I weigh the shoes before I run in them. And in mine, the Max is 8.95 ounces or 254 grams, or the Tempo, my Tempos are 8.85 or 251 grams. So very little difference between the weight of the different shoes. As I said, the foam has increased. There's much more of it. In the it's got the same drop at 8 millimeters, but in the Hyperion Max, the stack at the rear is 33 millimeters, and in the Tempo, it's 26 millimeters. I love the design of the Brooks Hyperion Tempo in the original colorways. Later on they added some graphics to the base, and then they've recently released, to kind of give it a refresh, some really unappealing looking graphics on the design of the latest versions, but that's really just to try and give it a refresh. This is the color that this is Blue Surf, Cherry, and Nightlife. For me, there's a bit too much going on, but it's the best color that I could find. It's available in men's and women's, and in men's there's also a red and blue and a black and yellow, and in the women's there's a pink and blue and a purple and black. Okay, so enough of how it looks. How does it feel? Well, it feels great. I mean, I really think the Max is a lovely riding shoe. I step in and out of the two each time when I'm trying to check and make comparisons, and you can immediately feel the additional foam. I know that shoes after a while, there's 300k on my Tempos. I know that the foam loses a certain amount of its spring, but actually the new ones you can definitely feel the added foam, and you can feel that as you run. The Hyperion Max costs €170, 170 US dollars, 160 UK pounds, and in Australia $299.95. They worked really hard to get it 5 cents below 300 Australian dollars. So here and in the US it's about $20 over the cost of the Tempo. I find the nomenclature of the Brooks Hyperion range strange. Originally there was a Hyperion Elite, and I guess that's the fastest shoe with the carbon fiber plate. I haven't run in it. It's recently been reissued. Then they had the Hyperion Tempo, a beautifully named shoe designed for Tempo days that I think it's superb at. I think brilliantly named. And so then I think maybe Brooks thought that was too limiting on who would buy the shoe, so they called it Max. They brought out a new version called the Max. So you think, well, it's not max cushioning because it's 33 millimeters and not sort of close to 40, which a Max shoe you'd expect. And it's not maximum speed because you'd expect the Elite to be the maximum speed version. So it's slightly confusing. My understanding is that later in the year, the new version will come in, which is the Hyperion, which is probably the real replacement for the Tempo. But for the moment, the Max is a new shoe on the block. Should you buy this, the Brooks Hyperion Max, or should you buy this, the Brooks Hyperion Tempo? Well, I think you should buy at least one of these shoes, but only one, and which one you buy depends on your use case. If, like I'm guessing a lot of people who are watching this video, you have a variety of shoes and you use them, different shoes in part of your rotation. You'll have a race shoe, a long day shoe, an easy day shoe, and a Tempo stride based shoe. Buy this. I found this to be fantastic. It wore incredibly well. It's barely worn at 300k. Certainly much better than any of my shoes. It rides incredibly efficiently. I think it's absolutely perfect for tempo and stride days. And it's getting cheaper now. It's 20 bucks cheaper than the Max, but it's getting cheaper as new versions get introduced. You'll see, I've regularly seen it at 125 bucks and less. So it's a great shoe, and one, if you've got a multi-shoe rotation, pop it in. But if you don't, and you're only looking for one shoe, this is great. I expect it to wear just as well as its predecessor. It's largely the same upper, largely the same base, just a bit thicker. It feels more comfortable when you're on it. You can race in it, you can run long runs, you can do your tempo days, you can do easy training. So yeah, only one shoe, look at buying this. It is, I guess Brooks's idea of Max is it has the maximum uses, and I suppose for that, it's very well named. I hope you enjoyed the video and found it useful. If you did, it would be great if you'd hit the like button. As always, there'll be lots of stuff in the description below, and I'll happily answer any questions you put into the comments. There'll be a big blue subscribe button popping up there, and some related videos there. Thanks for watching. Until the next video, just keep running along.